First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Andreia Zakime. I am from Brazil. And may I say that I'm very happy and honored to be participating in this great initiative. And I would really like to thank you guys for putting the effort and organizing all this marathon of very useful and interesting webinars. Today, I'm going to talk about a topic that I like very much, that interests me a lot, which is visual culture, and how we can develop the understanding of visual culture in the English classroom. Visual culture is not merely the understanding of images or the analysis and the study of images. Visual culture is a little bit more than this. It is the understanding of how images, and when I say images, I'm talking about photographs, signs, videos, basically everything that we can see, how images impact our understanding of the world, and also how the images we see are a symbol of the way that a society or an individual thinks, understands the world, and acts, mainly. So images, they are everywhere. I think it is a given that we are surrounded by images and they are part of our lives. To illustrate this, I brought some figures. I know that figures about how many photographs are shared and how many videos are uploaded, they are everywhere. But I think the numbers, they are so overwhelming that it's always a good reminder to know. So the numbers that I've got here is that last year, more than people in the world took more than 1 trillion photographs, trillion. 500, these are figures from last year. 500 hours of YouTube videos have been uploaded every minute. So I'm gonna say this again, 500 hours of YouTube videos per minute, all the minutes of 2019. 50 billion photos have been shared on Instagram, and 700 million Snapchats happen every day. So every day of 2019, people shared 700 million Snapchats. We know that this is a fact. We know that everyone can take a photograph, make a video, and share with the rest of the world. And I think that because it is so easy to see images everywhere, that we forget that every image we see, every sign, every video, they carry a value and a belief with them. They are not mere pictures. They are not as they are more than what we just see. And my idea with you today is to share some ideas of how we can make students a little bit more aware of the impact that these images, the images that they share, and the images that we see all the time have on our lives and our understanding of society and our role in the society that we live in. I think we as English teachers, we are very used to using images in the classroom. This is not new. Actually, this is one of the resources that we share in common with most classrooms in the world. But I hope that I can give you some ideas, and we can share some practical ideas on how to make this a little bit more meaningful and to help our students reflect on how these things affect their lives. Yeah, so Henrik saying a picture speaks 1,000 words, and this is absolutely true. I decided today to bring one of the most famous or the most known images, I think, in the history of modern photograph. Which is this one. Do you all know what this is? Well, this is a picture of planet Earth. I think it's very clear. The common use of a picture like this in class would be, what can you see? Can you describe the picture, please? And these are all things that we do mainly because of the linguistic outcome that might come from a description. So a student might say, it's a picture of planet Earth. What we see here is that the picture is taken from space. We see all the coast of Africa. We can see the Arabian Peninsula. If you understand a little bit of weather and climate, you can say that what we see might be clouds. The planet is covered by clouds. There might be some climate activity going on. We can see Antarctica and parts of the Pacific Ocean. So this is something that we are all very used to doing in the classroom, using pictures or images to engage students in a certain topic. So this might be a lesson about the environment or a lesson about space. And we usually ask students to describe, brainstorm ideas based on what they see. We call this analyzing the syntax of the image. The syntax of the image is basically what the eye can see, how it's framed, where it was taken from, the visuals the graphics that we see in the image itself. One thing that might be useful when you're working with images with your students is try to understand not only the syntax of this image, but also the semantics. What do I mean by understanding the semantics of the image? Is trying to ask questions of the things that we cannot see clearly displayed on the picture. For example, if we study this image, and of course we have to have some information about where it was taken from and when it was taken, you can tell your students that this picture was actually taken, of course, from space, from Apollo 17, which was one of the Apollo missions that took place in 1972. Having this piece of information in mind, do you think that the students might come up with other ideas that are behind this picture, knowing that it was taken on a mission in 1972? Any ideas? My research on this picture, knowing that it was taken in this period of time in the 70s, this picture is one of the most famous images of Earth taken from space. It has a name. It's called Blue Marble. It is actually the most famous picture of Earth. And when it was first released, of course, it is strikingly beautiful. It became a symbol for hopes of a world government and not a divided world, because in the 1970s, the Cold War was still going on. Also, it became the symbol of the young environmentalist movement. So the very beginning of an environmentalist movement that started in 1970. And it fostered a hope for a unified place, because, of course, at that time, things were very polarized in the world. Another thing that is interesting to see is that this image became also the symbol of how frail and isolated Earth is, and people need to take care of the planet if they want to continue living on it. And these are the kind of questions that you can ask your students when you use an image that at first glance can only be used for description or engagement in a type of lesson. So this is in studies in visual culture, this is called understanding the semantics of the image, and not only the syntax of a picture or a film or a photograph. With video, this is usually a little easier because you've got dialogue, you've got different sorts of intention. With pictures, we tend to overlook the power that the message behind might have. So this is, as I said, a photo from 1972. The next picture that I'm going to show is also on the theme of space and space travel. And I will give you some time to tell you your first impressions of this image. Okay. Well, this picture is a more recent one. Can anybody guess when this picture was taken? Yes, exactly. Glenn is saying it's like a selfie, but in fact, it is the most famous space selfie, and it was taken in 2013 by Hoshide, who is yes, it looks like a selfie, and it is a selfie. It became the most shared selfie in the year of 2013. This picture was actually taken in 2012, but the astronaut in the picture, Akihiko Hoshide, he just shared it in 2013 on Twitter and Instagram. Now, if you ask your students to try to go beyond, because this is obviously a selfie, you see the hands holding the camera, you see the reflection on the mirror, but because it's something that is so close to us, I think it's easier for the students to try to brainstorm ideas on why this picture was so impactful in 2013. It obviously became a viral photograph. It viralized. It is the most shared selfie of 2013. And coincidence or not, in 2013, Oxford Dictionary elected the word selfie as word of the year. So obviously, selfies in that time, they are the most important or the most talked about phenomenon of the world of images. Do you guys think that this is the first space selfie? No, it's not. You're absolutely right. This here is actually the first space selfie by Buzz Aldrin, and it was taken in 1966, many years before this selfie viralized. Now, the main idea here is to understand why the impact of Buzz Aldrin's photograph is lesser than the impact of a photo of planet Earth taken from space in 1972. Some people say that a selfie is only a selfie when it can be shared. And Buzz Aldrin, obviously, in 1966, did not share his selfie with anyone. He kept it to himself. And it actually, I think this photograph was sold in auction for, I don't know, maybe millions of, I don't know millions, but thousands of dollars.
Andrea,
Sorry.